Hello everyone, this is Logan59XP here today to react to the first State of Play of 2025 here on February 12th of 2025. So, what do I expect to see from this? Well, I mean, in terms of stuff I want to see, the thing I would want to see the most from this presentation would be, Persona 6, but as I have mentioned in previous reaction streams to these types of events. I don't think it's going to be here. I think it's going to be at the Xbox event in June, the big Xbox game showcase, because the last couple of years, Atlas has had their reveals at the Microsoft events, funny enough, even though traditionally people associate them with Sony and, of course, Persona for the most part. Obviously, the Q games are an exception, but for the mainline games, they've been on PlayStation for the longest time. But, of course, we now live in the multi platform era for Atlas, and well, ironically, the multi-platform era for Microsoft, and we'll talk about that in a second. But essentially, yeah, Persona 6. Well, that's like the number one thing I want to see from this, or even just anything from Atlas. I'd take, I don't know. Like I saw, there was another YouTuber that went live. David Cast JRPGs. He's a Atlas channel. I think he was like, oh, I saw in the thumbnail. I was like, yeah, Persona 6 or like Raida remaster or something. I mean, that'd be cool. Like anything Atlas at all would be cool, no matter what it is. But I don't think we're going to get anything Atlas here, let alone Persona 6. I think that's going to be saved for the Microsoft event in June. So since that's not going to be here, what else is there? Well, I did just mention how, of course, Microsoft, for better or for worse, obviously this is a very heated topic that one of these days I'd like to do a discussion video around, kind of like the current state of Xbox. The current state of the big three in general is something I want to do, but again, with me, we'll see if that actually materializes in any form. But obviously, with Microsoft going all in on multi-platform, no red line or anything like that. And, Phil Spencer himself said there's no red line. Satya Nadella has talked about multi-platform a lot. Microsoft and Xbox, they are now a multi-platform studio, multi-platform business, multi-platform company. And again, a lot of people don't like that, and I don't really blame them, but at the same time, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, obviously, more people get to play the games, and that's neat and all, but also it kind of defeats the purpose of Xbox as a platform existing. But again, that's a whole conversation that we can talk about some other time. But the point is, in regards to this presentation, there have been rumors for a few weeks now about Halo MCC and Flight Simulator 2024 coming to the Switch 2 and PS5. Now, obviously, we're not going to know if it's going to be on the Switch 2 or not until the April presentation, when maybe they'll be there, maybe they won't. But if they're supposed to be coming out relatively soon, then I mean, MCC being in this presentation wouldn't be the craziest thing ever. As weird as that might be to say that Halo is in a PlayStation presentation, but hey, welcome to 2025. If you had told people that even a few years ago, they would have called you crazy. But that's just kind of how it is right now. Yeah, so I don't know, that'd be cool though, seeing MCC. And I actually would probably get it. Like, I don't tend to like buy like the same game on like every platform it's available on these days. I used to do that for like Minecraft. Like every platform I had Minecraft on, I had it. So, I had the Xbox 360 version, the Xbox One version, the PS4 version, the Wii U version, the Switch version. I didn't have the 3DS version because that one came out in like 2018, and by that point it was like, who cares? I think it was 2018. Maybe it was 2017. I don't know. By the time it came out, it like super didn't matter. It was way too late for it to matter. And it was also new 3DS exclusive, although I did have a new 3DS, so it's not gonna really matter. But anyways, the point is, that was a game I bought on like every platform it was available on. Steam, not Steam. Well, Minecraft isn't on Steam, but Terraria I also bought on like every platform it was available on, basically. I don't have it on the Switch, but I haven't played Terraria as much as I used to, so that's not a big deal. But my point is, MCC is a game that I like enough that I would probably buy it on PS5 and even the Switch 2, and I never buy third-party games on the Switch because why would I want to spend full price for a game that runs and looks significantly worse than its contemporaries and not get the benefit of portable play, because I don't play in portable mode most of the time. So that's just me. But MCC might be an exception to that, especially because MCC is obviously going to run fine on the Switch too. I mean, it's an Xbox One game that's a bunch of like old 360 games and original Xbox games. Like, it would run and look just fine on the Switch too anyway, but enough about all that. So let's just go ahead and jump into this. Here we go. There's a couple other games that people want to see here as well, but obviously we'll get to them when we get to them. Monster Hunter, of course, is coming out soon. Got that classic Monster Hunter theme raring at us. Monster Hunter is not really a franchise I personally have ever really been interested in too much. I have played it a little bit. It's not really my thing, but obviously it's very popular. I know that one of my old friends, who I don't really talk to anymore, but back in the day, I know he was big in the Monster Hunter. He played it a lot. And, yeah, so this game in particular, though, is kind of odd because of, like, the PC system requirements. That's been kind of a whole ordeal. With, like, the 1080p 60 with frame gen or whatever, and that's been a whole controversy, but... So I'm curious to see how it runs on the consoles. Like, are they going to use frame gen on the consoles? I hope not, but I don't know. I mean, this footage we're seeing right now is obviously 30 FPS footage, but maybe they'll have a 60 FPS like mode. But hopefully it's not frame gen, because I know Black Myth Wukong also uses frame gen for its 60 FPS mode, and people did not like that. Different developer, of course, but yeah, that classic Monster Hunter theme, though. Never gets old. Already starting with the timeline here, of course. Yeah, February 28th, yeah, the very end of the month, basically. See, I'm curious to see how that runs on console. Apologies, by the way, if you can hear, like, the audio twice because it's going through the mic. That's an issue I've had in previous streams where, like, you can hear the audio, like, twice because I'm listening to the stream through my speakers, not my headphones. So, like, so, yeah, I don't know. Unless I turn the volume, like, way down. I don't know if that's gonna... I guess I can turn the volume down a bit. Maybe that'll fix it. I don't know. The volume doesn't need to be blasting, of course, for something like this. So yeah, hopefully the audio sounds better now, as in, like, you're not hearing the audio twice. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, Monster Hunter, that was basically given. So let's see what else we got. Sega. Okay. Wait, isn't this the game that they announced? Was this at the Game Awards? Yeah, this is like the Shinobi, the 2D Shinobi game. Was this at the Game Awards or was this at like the last State of Play? I don't know, but I think we've seen this before. Or am I confusing this with like the 2D Ninja Gaiden game? I don't know, there's so much Ninja Gaiden stuff coming out, because of course we did the Xbox event a few weeks ago when that happened, and of course that was a big thing for Ninja Gaiden, but we already had a 2D game announced before that event, so now there's like 3 Ninja Gaiden games. But then I think this game, which is a Shinobi game obviously, I think this was before, I think this was already announced. Again, maybe it was at the Game Awards, I think it was at the Game Awards? I don't know. But yeah, Shinobi hasn't had a new game in forever, so that's neat. I mean, looks neat. Art style. PS5 and PS4, but it's a 2D game, so I guess putting on the PS4 isn't really a big deal. This is the Sonic Racing game. This was no, this was at the Game Awards. This was at the Game Awards. They had that very brief shot of like shadow. Hey, look, Mario Kart 9's got some competition. I haven't played like any of the Sonic Racing games outside of I think the most recent one. Whoa! Did you see how pixelated that got? Whoa! Look at that pixelization. What the heck is up with that? This is at 4K, by the way. I mean the stream that you guys are watching right now is only 1080p, but I'm watching this at 4K. I don't know why this is like how pixelated it got. Like what the heck? Maybe that's just the footage that Sega gave Sony. I don't know. That's weird. That's weird. This is obviously gonna be on like every platform. This is gonna be on the Switch. As in, like, the current Switch, not the Switch 2. I mean, maybe they'll announce they'll be on the Switch 2. I mean, they could now. They could announce it for Switch 2 if they really wanted to. Obviously. I mean, obviously not in this event, but, like, you know, like on the website or whatever. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why it gets so pixelated sometimes. Like, that's weird. So, yeah, Racing Cross Worlds. Yeah, I played Team... The most recent one was available on, like, PlayStation Plus. Like a few years ago, I played a little bit of that, but I haven't played like the other ones, like Sonic Racing All Stars Transformed. Like that's kind of like the famous one. I haven't played that one. Okay, Bandai Namco. Okay, what's this gonna be? I'm not recognizing any like franchise in particular. It's Bandai Namco, and it's obviously like an anime game. So is it like based on an anime in particular? Because obviously Bandai Namco does a lot of those. Or is this like a new IP or something? Because I really don't know. Oh, it's Digimon. The second I saw that character, I was like, oh, that's Digimon, because that's like one of the most iconic ones. I've never played any of the Digimons. I've never played any of the Digimons. I've never watched any of the Digimons. Digimon is a franchise that I just was not a thing for me back in the day. At all. But, yeah, it's getting a new game, so that's neat. Yeah, there's a good amount of games though that are still coming out on PS4, but honestly at this point that doesn't even feel weird because that was a bigger deal back in the, like during the transition from like the 360 to Xbox One and PS3 to PS4. That was a way bigger deal because the gap in hardware was so much bigger. Like we were going from 512 megs of RAM to 8 gigs of RAM, whereas we were going from 8 gigs of RAM to 16 gigs of RAM or 10 gigs of RAM on the Series S, which is kind of the official like baseline for better or worse. But like, cause like I remember like back in the day, like oh like we can't add any more weapons to the 360 version of Advanced Warfare because of the RAM limitation, and GTA 5 stopped getting updated after a certain point for the same reason. But yet, you know, that hasn't been an issue so far with PS4 and Xbox One. Like those like live service games, you know, they're still being fully updated. I mean, obviously at some point, you know, Fortnite and Rocket League and whatnot are all gonna stop being updated for PS4 and Xbox One at some point. At some point, it's inevitable it will happen. It just hasn't been a big enough issue yet because the leap in hardware isn't as big as it was for that. I mean, obviously the PS5 and Series X are way more powerful, but like, you know, they're both x86, you know, 8 gigs of RAM is still enough RAM for a lot of those games that they can make it work. So, you know, it's not as big of a deal as it was back then to still have, you know, older generations supported. Especially if you're making your game for the Switch, because obviously if your game can run on the Switch, it can run on the PS4 and Xbox One. Same goes for the Switch 2 probably as well. I mean, obviously, you know, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, how powerful is the Switch 2 really going to be, the kind of the general ballpark has been, you know, PS4, PS4 Pro, Series S, you know, kind of like somewhere in that range, you know, like worst to best case scenario. And obviously if a game can run on that, it can probably run on the PS4 and Xbox One, probably, but obviously the Switch 2 will be more powerful. And it'll have a lot newer architecture. And it'll have support for ray tracing and stuff, so that'll definitely be an advantage in its favor. But
Hi everyone, I'm Sean Benson. We've got several updates today from partners around the world, starting with news from the Like a Dragon series.
okay, so this is going to be the Yakuza Pirate game that's coming out soon.
A playable demo of Like a Dragon,
Yeah.
Yakuza in Hawaii arrives on PS5 this Friday. Players could try out 2 battle styles, including Goromajiba's new Seedon style, as well as
Yeah, I'm gonna butcher the name of the studio if I try and say it, so I'm just gonna say RGG Studio. They have been on a roll over the last few years, just pumping out quality games that people like.
Ichiban's Holiday, a new crossover DLC coming to Dave the Diver.
Oh, okay, this is kind of random.
And other Like a Dragon characters team up to board a gang.
Then again, Dave the Diver has had a couple of big crossovers. Like there was the Godzilla one.
Dave the Diver Ichiban's Holiday arrives this April on PS5 and PS4.
That's like odd. Of all the games to get crossovers, it's that one.
The Splitgate 2 alpha begins.
Okay, I'm actually looking forward to this. I actually really like the first Splitgate, so I'm looking forward to this. It's a fun, like, it's like a cross between, like, Halo and Portal. It's actually pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to playing this. It's a free-to-play game, so you know, you're not going to have to pay for it or anything.
Gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. I'm here to give you an exclusive first look in the future of the WWE 2K franchise. Introducing the Island.
But yeah, I'm curious, like, when exactly the Island mode is not available on PS4. Okay, so
WWE-themed landmarks, quests,
so there's a next-gen only, well, current-gen only feature right there. But yeah, I'm very curious, like, when will that point come when last-gen actually gets completely abandoned? I mean, we're definitely moving away from it.
they're my superstars.
We're definitely moving away from it. Like, there's definitely a lot more, you know, current-gen exclusives now than there were a few years ago when everything was cross-gen. But there are still a decent amount of cross-gen games, especially, like, coming out of Japan.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Probably because the PS4 still has a big install base in Japan. Of course, the Switch is big over there, so that's probably part of the reason why. By the way, this event is supposed to be like 40 minutes long, I think. Borderlands 4. It's a big title.
Sup? I'm Randy from Gearbox. And
Randy Pitchford.
you know why we're here.
Oh, Randy Pitchford.
It's 2025, and every day we are getting closer to the launch of
A
Borderlands.
lot of people have a lot of words to say about Randy Pitchford for a variety of reasons. But yeah, I've never really played... I've played a bit of Borderlands 2, but never really got into it. Only played it like really like the first like couple of levels, I think. It's never really my thing. But obviously it's popular. Borderlands 3, from what I gather, was not received super well. People consider Borderlands 2 to still be the superior title. So people probably are going to be skeptical of this one, considering how people thought about Borderlands 3. But it's Borderlands, so, you know, it's a big title. But hey, we can at least agree this will be better than the movie, right? The movie. I think they announced Borderlands 4, like, not long after the movie came out, probably in the hopes that, like, it would, like, line up well with that. But it kind of was awkward because of how badly the movie did.
Want more? We don't have to wait long now. Borderlands 4 is going to break free for its special state of play this spring, focused exclusively.
I guess there's going to be an exclusive state of play.
If you guys join us, Borderlands 4 State of Play for encounters, action
But we're not getting a
sequences,
date
exploration
yet.
and discovery, everything. You're gonna see more guns than you can even count. All on PlayStation 5. But Randy, do you have anything else for us? I think I do, Randy. Well, what is it? Don't hold out on me, Randy. I'll feed you, baby bird. Who wants a launch date for Borderlands 4? This Randy. Well,
Okay.
Borderlands 4 launches worldwide for everyone on
September.
September 23rd.
That sounds about like what I was expecting. September.
See you in spring.
Okay. Okay, that's gonna get people's attention right there.
But I really don't do small talk. Nice to meet you too. So you want to go through
This game looks very different than It Takes Two.
But how are we supposed to get out of here if we don't start to trust each other? I don't
But I can already see that it's following a similar kind of... I can see, but you can, but yeah, but it's still very much got that co-op thing going for it. Also, like those like Mega Man costumes, but like that's totally what they looked like. They like there was like Mega Man costumes. Yeah, like those. They look like Mega Man.
We'll face it together. We got this. Yeah.
So yeah, considering on the co-op thing, that makes sense.
I wrote it when I was a kid. What sort of devil child were you?
60 FPS.
What now? I did not sign up for this. Brace yourself, Zoe!
Wait, was this already announced? I think it might have been already announced actually. Okay, Supermassive. This is Supermassive. As they just said, the studio behind Until Dawn. The original Until Dawn, not the remake that came out last year that people didn't really like. They didn't make that, but they did make the original Until Dawn, and they made The Quarry, which came out a few years ago.
Looks like it penetrated through there. We need to inspect the hull damage first. Doesn't look too good either. What is that? You feeling alright? My body's going one way and my mind's going another.
Is this an Alien game? That's what my mind defaults to.
Alien organism. It still doesn't feel real sometimes.
Never forget why you started. Lord have mercy.
Do you think Williams knows more about this substance than he's letting on?
We can't take any chances with him.
It can manipulate its physical appearance. It's changing its cellular structure. It's replicating the human form.
Okay, no, it's not. I'm like pretty sure it's not.
I know this will be difficult.
Although I think there was a new Alien game announced at the Game Awards, I want to say. One of the recent presentations, I think there was a new Alien game. Okay, see, I think that's new. I don't think that was at the Game Awards or anything like that. I think this is new.
So let me explain the situation. One of our contractors
Okay. It's all you have to see. Just see that word, and he's like, "Oh, okay." Because I'm like, Steel Wool Studios. I've never heard of that before. But you show the word, and he's like, "Oh, okay."
that he was developing for us. It's a kind of prototype endoskeleton that
I'm honestly very surprised that this franchise has remained as relevant and big as it has. Like, I remember this franchise was like everywhere, like when it first came out, like late 2014, early 2015. Those like first couple of games, they were everywhere. People talked about it all the time, and then it like faded away. Like by the end of 2015. So then I was surprised years later, and like it's popular. Like I was like surprised, like really. Like I did not realize this franchise was like still very alive. I mean, obviously there was the movie that was in development for like ever, but like that, But that was I kind of thought of that as like something separate. But yeah, they keep putting out games, and
Greetings from Moonhood. We're the creators of the Midnight Walk, cozy horror game created entirely in clay, where you will journey down a nightmarish highway riddled with terror.
they're going through these actually pretty quickly. The pacing is actually pretty good.
Together with your little friends,
Doesn't feel like it's dragging at all yet.
and bring
And
back
we're about
this mad world we've
halfway through. Again, of course, Sony said this was going to be about 40-something minutes long. We're about 20 minutes in. And it's not dragging at all. It's going by, it feels like they're pacing it pretty well. Haven't seen anything from Microsoft yet, but that may be saved for the end. We also haven't seen anything first party yet, for that matter. I mean, obviously we're going to get something first party. Yeah, it's about time we see like Wolverine. That's like long overdue at this point. I think this game was in a previous presentation as well. I don't know which one, but I think it was in a previous presentation. I don't think this is a new announcement. I think this is just them showing more gameplay. Ooh, PlayStation VR 2 support. Isn't I like that logo that they did right there with the clay.
To Klaus and Olaf for that updated look at the Midnight Walk. Up next, a quirky new adventure from Konami.
From what? Did they say Konami?
In Darwin's Paradox,
There's no way they said Konami. There's no way they said Konami. That was probably something else.
suspicious food processing center.
You sure this isn't from the guys that made Octodad?
Use Darwin's natural camouflage and inking skills.
Yeah, no, they probably meant a different studio. For some reason, I swear they said Konami, and I'm like, this is not a Konami game.
We're excited to reveal a brand new title from Koei Tecmo Games and Omega Force. Warriors Abyss. a
Okay.
different spin on the Warriors franchise.
New Warriors game. That is definitely different. Yeah, they got a top-down perspective. That's different.
Descend into hell. Call on powerful allies. And experiment with tons of playstyle combinations to send the enemy hordes flying. A roguelike hell awaits when Warriors Abyss
PS4.
PS5
Again.
soar later today.
For whom are you working? I won't forget.
This is a remaster.
Prepare yourself.
This is a remaster of...
Era classic returns with Onimusha 2: Samurai's Destiny.
Okay. People are going to be excited for this.
Capcom is enhancing the original game with HD graphics and
I was going to say PS3 game. I would have said like early PS3 would have been like what I would have guessed. But it's PS2. Okay. It's better than what I thought. The more I look at it, the more I would... Actually, the more I look at it, yeah, it does look like a PS2 game, actually. Okay, it's, no PS5 version. That kind of sucks, but it would be nice to get 4K 60 out of that. Although maybe the PS4 Pro code on PS5 will do that.
For Capcom's latest entry in the series, Onimusha: Way of the Sword.
Oh yeah, when was that announced? That was already that was announced. Forget when, but I'm pretty sure that was announced before. 2026, huh? That's something that like always kind of bothers me is like whenever like companies make like remasters, but like they don't put the remaster on like the current console. Like that kind of bugs me. Like that's not the only one that's been like that. That always bugs me, how like, yeah, we're gonna make a remaster of Onimusha, but we're only gonna make it on the PS4. So there's not gonna be a dedicated PS5 version. It's like, come on, why not? Why can't we have, 4K 120? Instead of, checkerboarded 4K or whatever they end up doing. I don't know. It probably wouldn't be checkerboard because it's a PS2 game, but you get my point. Like that just kind of bugs me. Like it doesn't matter if it's an old game; it should still get a version for like the current console, even if it's backwards compatible. At least for games like this, I feel. Although I'm sure that me saying that might backfire on me at some point. Yeah, 2026. And this is only on PS5. Metal Gear Solid Delta. I think this was confirmed to be coming out in, I want to say, July or August. This is also rumored to be coming out on the Switch too, apparently. Although I'm not really sure if that's going to happen.
What's the story between you and the boss?
She was like a mother and my master.
That's David. That's David Ader, right? I think I just butchered his name for some reason. Yeah, that's not the new guy that they got for 5. He's right, because they got someone else to do 5, right? But all the other games, it's been, David Ader. I'm pretty sure that's him in this.
There's nothing for you here. Go home. Go back to your boss.
I wonder when we're gonna get a new Metal Gear. Because we haven't had a new Metal Gear since Metal Gear Survive. That infamous game that people hated on immediately and crashed and burned when it finally came out. And then of course, we haven't had a full mainline game since 5, but of course that's because Kojima left. That whole ordeal. But they can't just let the series dormant like that. They're gonna have to do something with it eventually. Wait, whoa, what the? Ape Escape? What? Yeah, August. Late August. Yeah, that's random Ape Escape stuff? What? Easter egg?
When the fury of emotions sparks the wildfire of violence, it dissolves our illusions and exposes the fragile structure of reality.
I have 1,000 questions. Why did you come back?
I stood in the home I was born in. In that moment, I felt a connection.
I have no idea what this is.
They're gone.
Oh, that's a character design right there.
Hatred and lots of it. Impossible. It's you. You must continue. We've begun to uncover.
I may have to rush out the door real quick, just as a heads up here. There's something I need to go to soon, so hopefully we'll be able to make it through the rest of the presentation beforehand. I think we should, but we'll see. So this is what's this? This is what's it called? What's this game called again? I recognize that character. this, what was this game called? This is Life of Pi? Is that what the game was called? This was, or is this a different game that just happens to have a similar character design?
My forever friend. Help me to hold your hand and dance.
You're not the puppet I was expecting. Who are you?
This is Life of Pi, right? Like a new DLC or something? Well, it looks like it, but I'm having a hard time telling if it's just a coincidence.
No one else could. Too many stalkers were lost to that evil.
I'll do whatever it takes. Your survival is all that matters. Nothing else comes close, not even my life. I swear I won't be late. Not again.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it is this game. It's a DLC. Okay. I was like, I know that character. I know this. I know what game this is. Pixel Junk. That's a name I do know. Still haven't seen anything first party yet. I guess maybe they're saving it for the one last thing. Wolverine trailer. It's a unique aesthetic. Whoops. So yeah, still nothing first party. I haven't seen anything from Microsoft. I mean, not that I think something Microsoft here would be weird, but again, it's anything's possible. Then again, why wouldn't they just put that out on like, cause like Forza Horizon 5 being on PS5, that was just like a tweet. That was just a tweet and a blog post. That wasn't a part of any specific event. Another, oh, Q Games. I was gonna say, Pixel Junk is made by Q Games. Q Games has some of the guys behind, from Argonaut, the guys that made the original Star Fox, as well as Star Fox 2, the infamously finished but never released game that they finally put out a few years ago on the SNES Classic. And I think it's on NSO as well, but...
Hey everyone, I'm Kristen Zatani, and I'm excited to share even more PlayStation news in today's show.
Okay, this is rumored. This was rumored. I mean, we don't need this. this is unnecessary, but this was rumored. It already runs at 60 FPS on PS5 with the PS4 Pro enhancements, so like it really doesn't. But I mean, sure. I mean, hey, we're not getting that sequel, so it's something, right? Famously, the sequel got canned and the studio was not thrilled about it. So a $10 upgrade, okay. I think that's fair enough. $10. Okay, I'm sure people will be happy for that. We all know people love the outfits in this game. So yeah, people will be looking forward to that for sure. Oh yeah, the PC version's not out yet, but that was already announced.
Some great PlayStation Plus updates today, starting with game catalog titles arriving on February 18th. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Top Spin 2K25, and
So yeah, this is all for the premium and extra tiers. I'm still on Essentials, so none of this really applies to me, but you know, it's neat and all. Okay, so that was at least one first party game. We got Days Gone Remastered confirmed. Yeah, well, that's just been rumored for a little while.
What begins as a tale of friendship will
This was at a previous event. Again, I don't remember which event. Maybe it was the last State of Play. Maybe it was the Game Awards. But that was at a previous event.
Doom and Rage arrives February 18th.
I want to say that's from the studio behind Life is Strange, but that might just be because it looks like it.
Two unique indie titles that will launch in the game catalog later this year. Explore a mysterious mansion and blueprints, a genre-bending architectural adventure. Every door is a new decision as you build out a sprawling manor with 45 shifting rooms, adding layers of strategy, puzzles, and exploration. Blueprints launches day 1 in the game catalog this spring. Abiotic Factor is a 6-player survival crafting game from Playstack and Deep Field Games. Stranded miles beneath the surface, you and a team of scientists
Got about
gear and traps to outwit your enemies and make this bizarre
5 or so minutes left. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully the one last thing is Wolverine or something first party.
when it launches this summer.
That isn't like Fair Games or anything like that. You know, a first party game people actually want to see.
PlayStation Plus Classics catalog. Coming soon are the first 3 Armored Core titles from the original PlayStation.
Okay.
Armored Core Project Phantasma, and Armored Core Master.
Okay, it's
Meanwhile, Patapon 3 slides its way into the Classics catalog next week.
Armored Cores, the old Armored Cores.
No one knows how that world came into being. It devoured everything from the past. Only I was left. That was a fatal mistake.
You know, for a split second, I was like, is this Bloodborne? I've never played Bloodborne, but I've seen enough footage of it to be like, is this Bloodborne? Of course it's not. That's such a meme, right? The Bloodborne remaster, Bloodborne remake, Bloodborne anything. Like, people are so dang desperate for Bloodborne. You want to know what Bloodborne is? Bloodborne is like Sony's equivalent to like Wind Waker or Twilight Princess on Switch. It's like the game people have asked for years and years and years, and it just never happens. Man. Speaking of that, by the way, there's the whole rumor about like, oh, there's gonna be a Switch 1 Direct, like the final Switch 1 Direct in February. Even though we have the Switch 2 Direct already announced for April, and I mean, we're halfway through the month at this point almost, and it still hasn't happened. But I mean, I guess it's still possible. But I personally think that them saying, oh yeah, by the way, the Switch 2 Direct is going to start at 6 a.m., I think that was kind of their way of being like, we're not going to do a February Direct, which I don't think we need anyway. Because obviously all the focus is going to be on Switch 2 going forward anyway.
But I will take back everything that belongs to me.
And we are still going to get a Pokemon Presents later this month like we normally do. So we'll finally get to see Z to A, how that shapes up. But
The table is dead. It exists no more.
wall running mechanic. Wait, I know what this is. This is Marathon. I guarantee you this is Marathon.
Noise in my core.
This just looks like that Marathon teaser that we got like a year ago. This is totally Marathon.
You must retrieve the architect's core.
They will send everything they have to stop us.
You know I would never want to see you hurt. But the path we walk demands the extreme.
I remember you.
Run away.
Oh, it's not? What? That totally looked like at least the marathon from the teaser. That totally looked like it. Huh. Life got me wrong. Because I know that the marathon that they teased in that teaser is not the same as like the original marathon from the 90s, which has like been the point of contention. But that it totally looked like that. So, huh.
Gaps inside my head. Satellite gives us a 10-minute window. You made it.
They should totally just can Fair Games. They announced that game like
Leftover hardware.
when did they announce that? Like early 2024, maybe even 2023. I think no. That was in 2023. That was like at the last PlayStation Showcase in like May of 2023. It was like the first game they showed, I think. Which, by the way, we have not had a PlayStation Showcase since 2023. That's kind of nuts. Hopefully we get one this year because it's been long enough. People obviously really want to see new single player stuff. And obviously their live service stuff has been total bust for the most part. Obviously Concord is the famous example, but even outside of that, there's been a bunch of like canceled projects, like, you know, The Last of Us Online got canceled. There's apparently a God of War thing that may have been canceled. You know, there's a whole their whole live service push has been mostly a failure so far. The only one that's really materialized is Helldivers. And that one's kind of like unique and special, so it kind of doesn't really count. But yeah.
Hello, I'm Leslie Benzies, director of Mind's Eye, Builder Rocket Boy's new action adventure.
Yeah, this needs to wrap up soon, though. Needs to wrap up real soon. Like, I'm hoping that that like the one last thing is after this, because I'm gonna have to leave soon. I'd like to not leave right before supposedly the big thing gets revealed or shown or whatever it ends up being.
Later this year.
So this is not from IO Interactive, but this is like their publishing division, kind of like how EA has EA Originals, where it's not an EA game, but they're just like publishing it. Kind of one of those things. Speaking of IO Interactive, we haven't seen the James Bond game yet. They announced that like a few years ago. I think that was 2022. We haven't seen it yet, which is kind of a shame because, like, I mean, if there's a studio that you could be like, who should make a new James Bond game? Because there hasn't been a new like AAA James Bond game in like a decade, and like then that's like the perfect studio. You could not have picked a better studio. The team behind Hitman making a James Bond game. I mean, it doesn't get any more perfect than that. But we haven't seen anything on it yet in like the 2 years since they've announced it. Yeah, this needs to wrap up real soon though. Okay, finally. Okay, here we go. What is it?
It always comes back to this.
Wait, is this Death Stranding? I forgot about Death Stranding. Yeah, this is Death Stranding. This is Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I mean, it is a PlayStation Studios title, technically. Or is it Death Stranding? Wait, no, wait, this isn't Death Stranding. Or is it? No, wait, no, is this Helldivers? This kind of looks like Helldivers. I have no idea. I'm just guessing here. Then again, we haven't seen a Helldivers trailer that's like CG before, to my knowledge. Not that I play Helldivers, so I wouldn't really know, but... Yeah, I have no clue what this is.
But after every death, I always come back stronger.
Looks like a Souls enemy, funny enough.
And I will find you.
Says the guy who's never played any of the Souls games, to be fair, but... This is a new project. We've never seen that before. Saros. Housemarque. It's the new Housemarque game. Okay. People are going to be excited for that. Because people really liked Returnal. Okay. And that's presumably a single player title, not live service. 2026. Okay. So was that their one last thing?
I'm Gregory Loudon, creative director at Housemarque. We are
Yes,
thrilled to
Saros.
announce that our latest
Okay, people have been looking forward to this. People are going to be excited for this.
and enhanced for PS5
People have wanted to see a new Housemarque game for years.
ultimate evolution of the Housemarque gameplay first experience. It's a new single-player IP. that
Yeah,
builds
single player, so not live service.
third-person action.
Not that it was going to be realistically. It's Housemarque. I don't know why they didn't make a live service game, but you know, you never know with all the stuff that's been going on.
Searching for answers on a hostile, shape-shifting planet haunted by an ominous eclipse. All of us at Housemarque can't wait to share more about Saros, with our first look at gameplay coming later this year. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so is that it? Or is there going to be a one last thing? Okay, so that was it. Okay, then. Good amount of titles in there. Good amount of titles in there. I'd say that was a decent showcase. Nothing I particularly wanted was in there, but, like, that was a good variety of stuff. There was a lot of stuff in there that people cared about. I'd say that was decent for a state of play. Alrighty then, so I guess that's it, and I would sit here and talk a little bit more about it, but I kind of have to run, and I don't really have much else to say anyway. So yeah, you know, so yeah, there you go. That was that. Apologies for the kind of quick send off here, but I really do have to go. So thank you all for watching, and with that being said, this is Logan59XP, and I will see you guys next time.